We set the value for ourselves in what we are willing and able to do. We don't set the price. If you're setting the price for yourself, that's not the way or not the path to success. You have to set the value for yourself. Now, how do we do that? What's up? Bam. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the N2N Podcast. I am your host, Dr. N2N, and as my friends affectionately call me Ninja, you can call me Ninja too. This is the N2N Podcast, the alpha to the omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, inspiration, motivation, entrepreneurship in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Back in the studio again, excited to be here. We are officially in episode 11, double digits. Excited that we are growing our audience and our followers, and I appreciate every one of you all who have liked, shared, or commented on my podcast. As you know, we don't get any sponsorships. We don't have any at the moment, so if you can please help spread the word. If you find value in this podcast or any of my other podcasts, please like, comment, share, tell your friends, tell your family. I would certainly appreciate the support as we grow our audience and our traction. And if you don't like the podcast, well, share it to your enemies. We'll take that as well. Back in the studio, if you're keeping up to date, you know, part of the purpose of this podcast is to affect the lives of 1 billion people across the planet, make a change in a positive way. And we're teaching concepts about entrepreneurship, about success. For some of y'all that are new to the podcast that don't know me, my background is that I'm trained in medicine. I'm also a lawyer, have a law firm based out of Houston, Texas, where we've helped thousands of clients in the litigation and personal injury space. Also have a lot of other entrepreneurial endeavors in healthcare technology, sports technology, entertainment, and a variety of other things. By definition of success, some people would say I am successful, you know, have the house, the cars, and so on and so forth. But for me personally, success is an individual definition. Success for me may not mean what success would be for you, or my friends, or my family, or my colleagues. So for me, I am not successful in the sense that I've got a long way to go. I've got a long way to learn. And part of this podcast is bringing you along this journey with me and helping you become successful in your own definition as well. So today, we're going to talk about a very specific thing, and it's called value. Value. Okay, and what is a value proposition? But before we get into value, we have to talk about something that is similar to value, but not exactly the same, and that's price. Okay, price, for example, when you walk through a department store and you're looking for a pair of shoes, a new jacket, a dress, a blouse, whatever, you're going to see a price tag, okay? And whether it's a generic brand or a name brand, Gucci, Versace, whatever, the price on the price tag, by definition, is the price. The price is set by either the brand, the manufacturer, the marketer. That is the price. But the price does not represent the value of that article. Let me repeat that. The price on the price tag does not represent the value of that dress, blouse, shoe, jeans, whatever. Similarly, when you go to a restaurant, there's a difference between McDonald's and, you know, some high-end steakhouse, okay? The price on the menu represents the price of that food item. It does not represent the value. So, what then is the definition of value? Okay? In its literal sense, value is what a willing buyer and a seller agree to in exchange in a transaction. That is the value. So, if a restaurant sets the price of a Wagyu steak and it's $120, and I've agreed to pay the $120 for that steak, then that sets the value for the steak. But before I agree to that price, the $120 is simply a price. It is not the value of that steak. Again, in the real estate market, for example, in the past year or two, real estate's been hot. It's been really hot, especially in Texas, where I'm located. Really hot. Homes have been moving in the market above the price. So a seller would list their house, let's say, for example, at $500,000, and the closing price or the contract price would be, $550,000. So the $550,000 represents the value at the moment of that real estate. So price and value are not the same. And why do I bring this up? Because daily, we set the value of our own lives in how we conduct ourselves in the things that we do. We set the value for ourselves in what we are willing and able to do. We don't set the price. If you're setting the price for yourself, that's not the way or not the path to success. You have to set the value for yourself. Now, how do we do that? Well, it's all the things that we talk about in the podcast. We talk about discipline. We talk about dedication. We talk about inspiring others. That creates value. And so when, for example, as an attorney, if I want to set my market value in the legal world, there's a difference between $100 an hour and $800 an hour. I've got to be able to project or convey convincingly with confidence that my value is $800 an hour. Okay? But in order for me to put that into the marketplace at $800 an hour, I have to believe that the value of my services are $800 an hour. There has to be a congruency between what I'm putting out in the marketplace and what the marketplace is willing to pay for. Because again, I can set my price at $1,500 an hour, but that's just the price. If no one's willing to pay $1,500 an hour, then my value isn't $1,500 an hour. Value is what a buyer and a seller are willing to agree to conduct that transaction. Now, how does value relate in the idea of personal development? A lot of people are not willing to go through the sacrifice for success. And why is that, or why not? Because to themselves, they don't perceive that the value of the outcome is worth that sacrifice for whatever reason. They don't see that, hey, I work out daily, and I'm in theory past my athletic prime, but I work out daily, at least an hour, weights, cardio, whatever. And I work out early, sometimes 5, 6 in the morning. That is a sacrifice. Would I rather stay in bed and sleep? Absolutely. Would I rather get my rest? 100%. But what do? I still wake up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, do my daily morning routine, and then get to the gym for at least an hour. That is a sacrifice for me because I perceive the value on the other side. And what is the value of being healthy, being in shape? I'm more productive. I'm more alert. I get my day started early. I've already accomplished a major goal before the sun comes out. It keeps me in shape to keep up with my family, my kids, my daily activities, run my businesses, take care of my staff, gives me the energy to go into court, right, in good physical condition. So that value that I place on the action allows me to willingly accept the sacrifice to go through that. Okay? And so when you are looking at your own life, what value do you place on yourself? What price? Well, let me just backtrack. What price do you put on the value of your life? And are you willing to go to the step to prove that value so that a willing buyer will accept what your true value is? Okay? If I go to some random stranger, odds are, and I ask them, hey, how do you value your life? What is the value of your life? What is the value of your time? Okay? Most people wouldn't have an answer for that. Have you thought about how you value your life? Not in terms of life or death, but how you value your time, how you value your production, your productivity, how you value what you can contribute in a positive way to society. How do you value your charitableness in helping others or inspiring others to become better versions of themselves? Okay? When you think about value, if you sit around, let's think about value on an hourly basis, okay? And making decisions and prioritizing what you should do, okay? If you truly put a value on your per hour of time, like I said, for example, before, $800 an hour for me to create value. If I sat around and watched Netflix for an hour, I've essentially given up $800 in value or more. Okay, if I decided just to be lazy for an hour or two, what does that add up over a week, over a month, over a year, over a lifetime? How much value is left on the table that was never converted to the benefit of my life or your own life in your case? So value is a very important concept to try to mold into your life. It's a very esoteric concept, but when you start thinking about value, life value, priorities tend to change. Priorities tend to naturally sort themselves out as to how you should best spend your time, your energy, your effort, your sacrifice. What is that value to you? Okay? Because if that end goal is not worth it, does not carry that intrinsic value for you, odds are you're going to either fail or you're going to quit. Okay? It's hard to sustain momentum. It's hard to sustain endurance. It's hard to sustain setbacks. It's hard to sustain criticism, self-doubt, if the end result does not have enough value for you. Find that value in what you're doing, in how you value yourself, how you value your time. It's not price. You can always set the price whatever it is, but if there's no transaction or exchange, then there's no value. So set that value for yourself, and you will find what is worth it to you to either achieve, accomplish, or whatever it is on your way to your success goals. Find that value. Once again, this is the N2N Podcast. I'm Dr. N2N. If you liked what you heard today or found value out of this topic or any of my other topics, please do like, share, comment. You can follow me on all social at N2N Podcast, at N2N Podcast. We're about to launch our website very, very soon, so be on alert for that. And I welcome any questions or comments. If you'd like me to address a question on this podcast, please do email at ask at the N2N Podcast. Ask at the N2N Podcast.com. And I will see you next time.